The Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
It's not that we have no law on the books creating obligations for parents and school districts or the Child Welfare Agency. We have somewhat vague laws on the books.
The future of education in Connecticut is in the spotlight tonight as lawmakers weigh the future of a bill in Hartford. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. That bill would strengthen regulations on homeschooling. Up until now, advocates have told us Connecticut has some of the loosest rules on homeschooling, especially when compared to other New England states.
Now, Fox 61's Stefan Reels has a look at the bill and what those who are for and against it have to say.
Heading into this legislative session, homeschooling was a subject a lot of people wanted to tackle, especially with two very big cases that were brought up and came to light in 2025, one from Waterbury and one from New Britain. But homeschooling as a subject does not go over easily here in Connecticut, and it's a debate that's lasted for decades. But take a look at this. This is what it looked like last legislative session when the topic of homeschooling came up, where a lot of people pushed back at how much input the state should have on a child's education, and we saw something similar this time around.
This bill, as drafted, is a massive overreach.
Father of four, soon to be father of five, Justin Bennett was among the hundreds of people who packed the legislative office building to push back against House Bill 5468 and the new regulations that would come with it to make sure children receive an equivalent instruction as what they would have in public schools.
This bill has so many questions that it does not answer, and that's a recipe for disaster.
But Bennett and his family worry what this standard would be and what would be the consequence if his family doesn't follow it.
This bill does not work out the way they want it to. It hurts my education and my enjoyment. They need to just leave it how it is because it's fun the way it is.
As the bill is written, on top of the equivalent instruction, it would require a review of that standard every year and a cross-check, so families with an open DCF investigation or case would not be able to withdraw their child from school.
We have to have a safety net for those children. None of those children are going to be testifying.
So your stance on this is we need these regulations.
We need something.
Sarah Egan with the Center for Children's Advocacy has been on the other side of the aisle and says some of the bill is already in the state constitution. While she supports a parent's right to homeschool their child, this would help prevent cases like Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia and S., the man who says he was held captive in his Waterbury home for more than 20 years.
Over and over again, we have seen in Connecticut, some adults use the lack of follow-up to take children out of school on a lie, and then abuse, neglect, or otherwise harm that child, or at a minimum, deny them an education.
On the state website, there were about 400 submissions from people who either wanted to speak in person or write in their support or opposition on the bill. One of the people who supported the bill was New Britain Mayor Bobby Sanchez, who said that whatever bill or system ends up getting passed needs to make sure that no child in the state will disappear without someone asking questions. And it was a vow that he made to the life and legacy of Mimi Torres. In Hartford, Stefan Reels, Fox 61.
Stefan, thank you. To the weather now. We had the chance to enjoy one more day of warmth, but unfortunately everything will be changing tomorrow.
Yeah, things are already changing now. Meteorologist Sam Samperi is here with the first check of the forecast. Look at all the rain moving in, Sam.
That's right. We even have some lightning strikes knocking on our doorstep, and there's been a special weather statement issued for some gusty winds and some heavy downpours with this cluster of showers and even thunderstorms now. A couple of lightning strikes down there in southwestern Connecticut there. And so down in the Greenwich area, and then heavy rain up the Route 7 corridor here into the Danbury up through New Milford. Put it into motion, and yeah, you could see it's coming out of the southwest. This is where there was some severe weather, even a tornado warning down in the Harrisburg area earlier this evening, and there's that cluster moving through. Some of it has weakened, but again, some lightning strikes and some of these thunderstorms are holding together. So don't be too surprised right now, between now and the next hour, we get to hear thunder and see the lightning. Temperatures right now are pretty mild, of course. The temperatures are not a problem here. It's just all about the changes happening, and we have some gusty winds out of the south. So put this into motion. You see we'll have some bands of moderate to heavy rain showers with some thunder embedded, a few lightning strikes, gusty winds. There it is at 5 in the morning. And then during the day, we transition. We get the showers ending around 10, 11 o'clock. And look at these temperatures chilling down into the 30s by tomorrow afternoon, and it is going to turn colder and cloudy. The question is, do we have any snow showers coming in after that? And what about the rest of the week into the weekend? Details coming up in a few minutes, guys.
All right, Sam, thank you. We have an update now on a story we brought you last week about the White Rabbit Bar in downtown Hartford. The state suspended the bar's liquor permit after repeated police calls and public safety concerns. When we drove by the location today, it appeared the bar had been cleared out. We reached out to the owners and liquor control officials for comment on the status of the business, but we have not heard back.
Last week, we gave you an exclusive look inside the Bradley Inn in Windsor Locks. People were living there and left without water or electricity for days.
On top of that, the inn is not zoned for long-term residential use. Several cats were also left behind for weeks, and now there's a law being proposed to prevent this from ever happening again. Here's Fox 61's Tim Latow.
After the Bradley Inn was condemned, 5 cats were stuck inside without food or water for 2 weeks. The Enfield Community Cat Project stepped up to rescue the cats, but they say the town should have handled the situation sooner and on its own.
They're paid and they have liability insurance that covers them, whereas we're just an all-volunteer, all-donation-based organization, so we were putting our own safety on the line.
The only animals left at the Bradley Inn are the wild turkeys that roam the lawn. But 5 cats had to be rescued after they were abandoned by people who lived there. The cats had free range of the inn. All the hotel room doors were left open inside. It took a 4-day effort to catch all the cats, even with trail cameras and traps.
They had diarrhea, they were throwing up, they were dehydrated, they got IV fluids, antibiotics.
The cats are now recovering in foster homes, but Dawn Struck, the founder of the Enfield Community Cat Project, says the situation should have never gotten to this point.
The problem in Connecticut is that the majority of the animal laws are antiquated, and there's a lot of laws that don't exist.
Struck says she called and emailed Windsor Locks Police and Animal Control about the Bradley Inn case, but never heard back. She says gaps in Connecticut law make it easy for municipal authorities to avoid cat rescues because they're often referred to as free roaming.
It creates some confusion and an easy loop for individuals in authoritative roles to not take action.
So now Struck is working to pass a new bill she's named Bradley's Law. It's based off a similar law passed in 2018 in Massachusetts. According to the draft, municipalities would be required to inspect a building within 3 days of it being condemned. Officials would have to look for pets with infrared or thermal imaging equipment, motion-activated cameras, and inspect any enclosed areas like crawl spaces. It will then be up to animal control to place any animals found in rescues or shelters.
This law will actually make it very clear who is responsible for what.
Struck is meeting with State Representative John Santinella on Friday to go over the next steps for Bradley's Law, and if it passes, it will likely go into effect sometime in 2027. In Windsor Locks, Tim Latow, Fox 61.
Staff member was hurt after an electrical issue at Osborne Correctional Institution in Summers. Officials say they were operating on a backup generator after a high-voltage underground electrical line short-circuited. Power was restored within the last couple of hours. They say the blast disrupted power and the facility went into temporary lockdown. The staff member was taken to the hospital and they're back home tonight. This is the second issue to happen at Osborne Correctional in less than a week.
A judge has found probable cause to try Jonathan Nanita for murder in the death of 11-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia. He pleaded not guilty this morning. Nanita's pretrial hearing is scheduled for May 19th. He's one of 3 people charged in Mimi's death. Her remains were found at an abandoned home in New Britain last October. The girl's mother and aunt have also been charged in her death.
A woman who was reported missing a month ago. Her body has been found. New Haven police say Cynthia Chamberlain was reported missing on February 10th. On Monday, a group of children playing in a park on Hollick Avenue reportedly found her body. An autopsy did not find any trauma to her body, but investigators are still waiting on a toxicology report. Anyone with information about her should contact police.
The FBI says it arrested a foreign terrorist in Waterbury. Investigators call him a fugitive and an MS-13 gang member. Danny Granados Garcia is accused of killing 2 people in El Salvador, one of them a pastor. Although we don't know how long he's been on the run, we weren't given any details about yesterday's arrest other than Granados Garcia will be sent back to El Salvador. And months after a hit and run seriously injured a young boy and his family in New Haven, police say the suspected driver has been located and taken into custody out of state. Investigators say 28-year-old Tymel Barker was tracked down in Louisiana with help from the U.S. Marshals Service. Police say the crash happened just before 12:30 in the morning on October 15th during celebrations for the Jewish holiday Simchat Torah. Investigators say a family was crossing at Gough Street and Elity Grasso Boulevard when a driver turning left hit a 7-year-old boy, his mother, and his 4-year-old brother who was in a stroller. The younger child was thrown from the stroller but was not hurt. The 7-year-old, however, was dragged by the car and suffered serious injuries, including 2 broken femurs and head trauma. The father's cousin was at the press conference and had this to say.
He just expressed to me the feeling as a father to see your whole life just being destroyed in front of your eyes.
Barker is now facing several charges, including risk of injury to a minor and first-degree reckless endangerment, and will be extradited back to New Haven.